Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Kiki Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Avatar 2 bombing in China. Now, we've talked about this before that it did bad in China, but it's gotten worse. It had like a 78% drop.
After that 57 million or whatever.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's bad. But
now, well, I want to say real quick, because people keep misunderstanding what I'm saying. Yes, I know COVID is going on in China. Yes, I think that is part of the reason why it's not doing well. My point was, immediately they were running with a narrative that, oh, because of COVID, and the reason it's not doing well in America is because of COVID too. And, and if it's not COVID, it's the flu and RSV and, all these other reasons.
Keep track of
and
it
whatever
all.
other sniffles someone has this week. And so that's what I was saying. I'm like, they're going to run with this narrative, and it's not really true. And they only missed their in the international markets, only missed by 50 million, which is close to what they missed domestically. So that was over all the markets, and that wasn't really a big deal. They weren't that short, even with China having COVID. That was my point.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about this. Not a good look though for Hollywood chasing Chinese money. Again, for the 50th time.
No, they keep doing it, and then Iger's up there rear so hard.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But now they're going to blame the weather for this weekend.
Okay,
if it misfires this weekend.
We'll give them this one. The weather's really, really bad. Not overseas. If China drops again, they can't blame the weather.
What I think is going to happen, and yeah, there are some legit circumstances, but I think what's going to happen is this movie is going to misfire. It's not going to be catastrophic, but they need to make $2 billion. That's a hell of a lot of money, right? For any movie to make. If it does not hit that $2 billion mark, they've got all these excuses ready.
Right. So
China.
Next week will be,
weather.
Okay, we got the weather this week. Next week it'll be, the flu, and COVID and RSV or RVS or RSV, yeah.
I don't even know that. But they did this with James Bond too. People didn't go out to see the last James Bond movie in the numbers they expected, and they're like, well, it's because old people are afraid of COVID. But meanwhile, Spider-Man did gangbusters. But they just got done
saying, this movie isn't for you old people, we're changing it up.
Right.
And then they don't go, well, you didn't come because of COVID. So now it's because, they're saying it's because of the storm, and I will give them that, because the storm is clearly from coast to coast.
It's pretty bad. We lost power this morning, and it's like freaking... Now, we live near Pittsburgh, but you go outside and it's like the freaking Arctic Circle out there.
No, the good news is by Christmas, for most of the country, it's going to be moved out. Now, on the East Coast, it's still going to be here somewhat. But, so if they're waiting for the weekend for the holiday box office, Saturday and Sunday, they might not have too much of a hassle, because that is, it's moving out to the East, and it's almost out. So in the East Coast, you're still going to have some issues. But everybody, over the other side, they can still go to the theater.
Yeah.
But the storm really is an issue. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm not going to argue that one.
Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about bombing in China, the storm, and other things. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 283, almost 284,000 subs. Thank you for this support. We've been following Avatar 2. Have not seen it. We did have somebody do a review of it on, I think, both blogs, actually. We had reviews on
I only saw the one that's on Pirates and Princesses, and it was a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, and they were both fairly favorable.
Yeah, basically, it's really pretty, but it's really too long, and it could be cut back considerably. I'm hearing.
China's cutting back on. So this was today. This is Scott Mendelsohn, who apparently his Disney checks aren't cashing anymore, because he's really gone at Disney pretty hard.
Well, that just means that he's clearly an alt-right Yahtzee.
Clearly.
That's what we got told.
Yeah, so they said it could be the year's biggest global grosser. However, with just $80 million from China in 8 days,
that's not good.
From $57 million opening weekend,
no, remember,
70% drop.
They were thinking China was going to bring $200 million just the opening weekend in China.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they were banking heavy on China.
Right.
They were. According to individuals with knowledge, James Cameron's underwater 3D epic is the latest big Hollywood movie to stumble in China. It's also the latest Hollywood tentpole. Think Top Gun Maverick or The Batman, to earn top-tier global box office with no help from China.
What I don't understand? Here's what I don't understand. Well, they didn't get approval for this till later on. So when they were still making those estimates, wouldn't they have known by then that there was a rise in COVID, because by then they would have known that a lot of that there's 70% of theaters are open, 30% are closed. I think that's what it is.
Yes.
We already had Shanghai Disneyland shutting down two or three times, and that was like in the last couple months. So they would have already known that before they made that $200 million tracking estimate.
they have a stack of note cards, and they're just like, when they have to answer to their investors. Because remember, guys, this movie didn't perform as well as they thought, so Disney's stock dropped because they were betting so heavy on this one movie. They probably have a bunch of cards ready, and they're like, whoa, people got the runs this week. That's why they didn't go see it.
They overate for Christmas. That's why they didn't go see it.
Food poisoning. The entire country got food poisoning. That's why they didn't go see it. A macroeconomic circumstantial things are going on.
Global,
macroeconomic, macro, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
We're the best storytellers in the world.
We're the best storytellers.
Believe what we tell you, because we're the best storytellers in the world at Disney.
So there was an implicit hope that China might help make Avatar 2 a hit to continue the narrative that Hollywood could find fortune and glory in China. I think it's over. They're making their own movies. A lot of people are saying that, COVID played into it somewhat, but they think the CCP was kind of low-key discouraging people from seeing it or not promoting the movie very much because they want their movies.
Well, they also said here, we may never know how the second Pandora set picture would have performed in China had it opened in non-COVID circumstances. Again, yes, completely agree that there's a problem with COVID right now in China. However, that's been ongoing for a while now, and they would have known that around the time they got the approval to release it in China. Mm-hmm. I mean, we know they keep running into trouble with their Disney parks over there.
Yep. You see this hump here? Yeah, well, it looks like China's done humping the U.S. They're done with it.
They're taking their money with them.
They're taking their money with them. They're not even leaving us any money on the nightstand. They're just done. And they are. They're producing their own movies over there, which weirdly enough, during a pandemic, people can go see those movies
from their own country,
from their own country,
language.
Yes,
it's their own bent on.
Yes,
the CCP approved.
CCP approved movies for.
Maybe you get more. Maybe you get more social credit score points if you go see their movie as opposed to going to see the ones from the U.S.
Remember, now they're talking about how even tech companies are moving operations out of China to Vietnam because they're worried about there being kind of a Cold War. I'm like, remember when just like 2 or 3 years ago, if you said that, hey, we shouldn't be so reliant on China, it was racist. Remember when the pandemic started and Sony actually pulled out of a video game con? I want to say it was PAX East. I think it was PAX East. They pulled out. And they said that they were being racist against China. And this is Sony, a Japanese company. And they're being racist against China.
I remember something, because it was like, because COVID. Yes.
Because COVID.
But they're saying, meanwhile, Hollywood biggies like these movies are earning business as usual, goes everywhere else. But the Chinese ones are doing extremely well in their own country. They're pulling in pre-COVID level business in China.
Yes.
So why do they need your movie? We talked about this before. We've done these videos. Some of the top grossing movies in the world have been Chinese ones.
Yes. And that's without the rest of the world. Just there's so many people over there. And, and look, they're going to keep all the money to themselves because I'm sure the CCP gets a much bigger cut if it's a homegrown movie. I don't know how that works exactly, but they're going to push their own movies. And of course, they've got all kinds of standards and practices now that they're cracking down on Western content. They don't want basically California sensibilities to infect China, is my understanding. I'm just going to leave it at that. And so they're making sure the movies actually pass muster over there. Right.
Because I hate to say it, but everybody's pushing diversity and inclusion over here. They're not so like-minded.
They're not. So yeah, this is really interesting. And I think to hit that $2 billion number, they probably do need China.
Well, here's what they'll just do like they did last time. To be fair, the first one did well, but it was kind of a new thing, and it was like, oh, you have to see it because it's groundbreaking. Yeah. But other than that, they've released it how many times? How many times have they re-released that film to make it number one? And every time it gets beaten by somebody else, oh, hey, we're going to do a special edition re-release of Avatar. Yeah. So there's that, too.
They have the excuses ready. So the next earnings call with Bob Iger back.
Storm.
It's going to be the storm and COVID.
They blamed the storm. Remember when there was a a hurricane in Florida. And it was for 2 days in Florida. And they tried to blame the reason that Galaxy's Edge underperformed massively was because of that hurricane that lasted 2 days. Well, what about all the other days that there wasn't a hurricane? It didn't matter. It was the hurricane. Now, again, this storm is huge. There's a lot. The roads are very dangerous. I give them this one. Like, it's not going to do well because there's storms. However, they might pick up this weekend because a lot of the storms are out, except for the East Coast. So they might pick up tomorrow and Sunday.
So by Friday morning, studios learned that 44 theaters have closed because of inclement weather.
Out of the 4,000 something theaters that are
4,700 theaters, supposed screens, we're going to show Avatar 2. 44 in the Midwest are going to close. And that's what they're going to, I guarantee you, they're going to blame. If it drops off the second week, they're going to be like, guys, it was just the snowstorm. What are you going to do between COVID and a snowstorm? We just couldn't make it happen.
Hey, to be honest, most people aren't going to leave their house in a blizzard, a bomb cyclone, to go to the movie to go see Avatar.
Well, it's the best movie ever made this year, except for these other movies.
I was like,
what
do you think it was? Star Wars pre-Disney?
It's the best Disney product since the last Disney product. I mean,
right. Consume that product or you're a bigot.
Consume it. Even other media outlets, Screen Rant is like, hey, it's going to really be hard for them to hit $2 billion without China. I mean, it's going to be really hard for them. Again, like you said, re-releases, yeah, sure. But it's going to be hard because it basically depends on repeat viewings, and they're like getting people to sit through a 3-hour movie now one time is a chore. Very few people are going to do it multiple times. It's not like 2009.
Hollywood and the media, they get mad people won't sit through movies for 3 hours. But then to be fair, they've trained people to be like, ooh, shiny, ooh, shiny. You know what I mean? Like, they want you to have short attention spans. And then they're mad when you don't have a long attention span. It's like, but you guys are out of the reason.
Yeah, they go on to explain why it's probably not going to do it, but it is going to take repeat viewings. It would take China. They probably did factor in China, but like you said,
I don't understand how they could be surprised by this.
COVID's
COVID.
Been a thing.
But I think when we found out they were going to put it in China, it was recently, and they already knew at that point because the parks at Disney, like Shanghai's closed down 2 or 3 times.
So now, blizzard. So winter's here. Winter's here for Disney, right?
But COVID is a good excuse. Winter is a good excuse in those situations. However, that's not an excuse the whole way around.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up.
Yes.
We'll see how it does. It might surprise us. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.